My name is TotalBiscuit, and I suck at Starcraft 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit, and I still suck at Starcraft 2. Welcome to another episode. This is a game that I'm, again, kinda happy about. And it is a different opening to what you've probably seen in my previous videos. I've had a really bad losing streak over the past couple of days, and I'll most likely revisit some of those games and try and figure out why in a couple of future episodes. But my conclusion to all of them was, damn, I'm not putting on enough pressure. And as a direct result, I end up fighting maxed out army versus maxed out army, and it flat out doesn't work for me. Either I get run over by ultralisks, which, as much as some of you might say, well, you build ultras if you're ahead and want to lose, this is not 2011 Wings of Liberty, and in fact, ultras are really good now. Very, very hard to kill them. Extremely dangerous. Like, Marines at that point in the game just become useless. Way more so than they used to, because they've changed the stats on the Ultralisk. It actually does a flat amount of damage now instead of a bonus against armor, so it can be very, very difficult to actually deal with Ultras. And then, of course, Protoss, well, Colossus, you know how that goes. Or Templar, I mean, both of those work too. Going up against any of those techs generally results in me dying horribly because I don't have the control to handle it. So, I thought, right, okay, what can I do? If I can slow down the process of them being able to get to that point, then this will end up in a situation where everything is much, much better for me. A situation I'm more comfortable with. So, I've decided I'm going to open Reaper every game. Now, Reaper every game is pretty valid as far as I'm concerned. And the reason is because it gives you scouting information. Now, the question is, why have I not done this before? Well, the answer to that, ladies and gentlemen, is that I haven't done it before because I was worried that the control required for the Reaper, build an SCV, no, I'll build that works too. I was worried the control of the Reaper would affect my macro too much, because I've been really, really worried about that. Whenever I get into a micro-intensive situation, my macro slips because I'm not very good at the video game. So, I thought, well, I shouldn't open Reaper then, and I've been opening Gasless Expand almost every game. And the problem with Gasless Expand is that while it seems cool, because it gives you that nice economic boost, unless you can translate that into anything, then your opponent just rolls over you, man. You give him way too much time. It delays everything. I was getting medevacs at 10 minutes, stim at like 9 minutes 30. It was really bad. So this opening right here is a barracks on 12 supply, and then you take your refinery on 12. I screwed it up, and I ended up with my refinery on 13, which means that this Reaper was a bit delayed, but it did allow me to get out one Marine as well. Now, after you've done that, you put a reactor on your barracks. As soon as you built the Reaper, you'll have the gas, and then you build a command center, and then I follow it up with a factory. So what does this mean? I get early drop capability. What should I be doing here? Because I'm too focused on microing the Reaper, I'm not building workers. Build workers, yeah? This is the problem, yeah? I'm controlling it. So a way around this would be, just before the Reaper goes into the base, queue up a couple of workers. I know queuing is bad, but it's better that you queue than don't build anything at all, because you've slowed yourself down really badly there. Now, I'm controlling the Reaper at this point. This is done. I could have been building from here, yeah, and I should have been. So this is the risk of the Reaper. Now, what I think I'm going to do is, instead of this silly micro here, like, I got a couple of kills there, and that's nice, but think about what I lost while doing that. I could have had 2, maybe 4 more Marines out by now. I could have had 2 more workers out by now. I missed both of those opportunities because I was too busy microing the Reaper. Was it worth it to kill a Ling and a drone? No. No, it wasn't. So, I think what I'm going to do with this Reaper is, every time I build it, I'm going to rally it around here. I'm going to jump in, I'm going to scout his base, and then I'm going to leave. And I'm going to keep the Reaper alive, and I'm going to send him in later. And I'm going to scout him again. And that's that Reaper's job. He's not supposed to kill anything. He's not even going to try and kill anything. He's got terrible little pistols anyway. They can't do a damn thing these days. And then that's going to be that. Now, the Reaper kind of redeems himself because he's going to defend this SCV, this brave, brave working soul. And I need to turn this into an orbital command as well. And yeah, I'm slacking so much here. I don't even know why. It's really weird. Like, I'm floating a bunch of money. There we go. Now I'm actually building stuff. So I need to tighten all this up, right? I really, really do. This all needs to be sorted out in some way. I've got to make sure that I continue to build. Now, my attack after this, my first piece of harassment is going to be a Widowmine drop. It's going to be a 2 Widowmine drop. I'm coming to the conclusion this might not be the best idea, because Zerg have a lot of ways to deal with this now that they didn't used to. They can get a spore much earlier. You don't need an evolution chamber for it. Since they're taking an earlier lair, it often means that they get an overseer. So by the time this gets here, that lair's going to be done. He can build an overseer and no problem at all. But this Reaper is coming in again, right? Now, he's kind of ready for it, but not quite ready enough, because I get the scout on the Baneling nest and the lair. All right, that Reaper's now done his job. So he's going to die, and that's fine, because it didn't cost me a scan, you know, so that gets me a mule. I was really, really slow in building SCVs here as well, and not building Marines with this. Again, because I'm trying to micro the stunning thing. Just let it die. It doesn't matter. It's more important than I'm building. Build. Build. Build, you stupid ass. Build. And I'm not building. I'm not building units. Come on, build units. I can't build units. You want to know why? Because I'm supply blocked. So I need to think about it. If I'm going to do this drop... Now, 4 Marine, 2 Widowmine is probably the best way of doing it. I did 2 Marine, 2 Widowmine, which is pretty bad. And I think this ends up just being absolutely disastrous. But we'll see. We'll see what kind of damage it does. It's actually going really early Infestation Pit as well. Alright, down he goes. So I'm supply blocked, which is pretty bad. But as I send this in, I should build supply depots. Alright, so the 2 Widowmines went off. This is going to get cleared up. How much damage is done? I've killed 7 workers. That's pretty good. I could have been ahead of him, workers-wise, if I'd actually remembered to build workers quicker than I currently am. So... that's something I could learn there. That drop actually did damage. If I dropped 4 Marines instead of 2 here, I think it would do better. He now builds the Overseer, cleans up the Widowmines. I lost the Medevac as well, which was really bad control. If I drop 4 Marines, that might be enough to kill the Queen. So I think the 4 Marine 2 Widowmine drop is more effective. Alternatively, I could drop Hellions. Dropping 4 Hellions would work pretty well here as well. Takes a little bit less gas. Might mean that I get an earlier stim, maybe, because I'm not spending gas on Widowmines. So that's a possibility there. Or an earlier combat shield. Always nice to get that against early aggression. Okay, so I try and clean this Overlord up, and he's a little bit too quick on me, so I don't manage to get that. And he's actually preparing. He builds 2 Spires. This is unusual. I think he probably just forgot that he had one and then built the second one. It's really weird to build 2 Spires, mostly because it takes a lot of extra gas. That's what, 200 extra gas that you don't have. Unless you're going for some weird double upgrade build, which generally you just never ever see now. Especially since Broodlords aren't anywhere near as good as they used to be. Yeah. I don't like that. So after that, I'm adding on a lot more barracks because, hey, I know I've got some money. He's floating a lot more than I am. Of course, he's saving for his Mutalisks here, by the looks of it, but his gas is really low. He doesn't really have enough to... He's actually not mining from his 4th gas. That's probably why here. So the double spy is definitely not helping him at all. Now, he starts to build a Spore Crawler, which is really smart. I like the fact that he's building static defense here. Well, I like it from an analyst's perspective. I hate it because I'm going to kill myself on his Spore Crawler because I'm a dumbass. As you can see, my second drop is coming out here with 8 Marines. This is actually a really bad drop because if I recall correctly, this is without stim. Yeah, so this drop is actually going to do nothing. I shouldn't be sending this out without stim. Doesn't really make a lot of sense. Okay, so he takes his 3rd around the 11-minute mark. He has his double spire, then builds a bunch of lings. Probably realizes he doesn't have enough gas to build anywhere near enough Mutalisks to make this work. And it's weird as well, because he built an infestation pit, then built no infestors, which is a little bit strange. And he's not building upgrades as well, so he can't be building the infestation pit to go up to hive either. So you're like, well, this is a really odd choice, isn't it? So what do you build? Do you build the infestors, or do you build the mutas? Well, this was the worst drop in the history of mankind and gets cleaned up completely. He doesn't even lose the queen, so yeah, that was awful. I didn't pay any attention to the Spore Crawler. I'm a dumbass. But in the meantime, what am I doing? I'm building a pretty big army, kind of a scary one, because my macro started to kick in. I can build 10 Marines at a time. I can add Marauders into the composition because I know it has a Baneling nest. And now I'm going to head out to drop. So I've got a single Widowmine. I'm just going to unload that. I'm going to try and do as much damage as I can. So far, as I say, I've only killed 7 workers. So yeah, I haven't really done so well with that, let's be honest. But again, I'm building a large army behind this. I need to be building more SCVs. I'm on 48. 48's a good name, but again, a good number. But again, I am supply bloody prisoner in here. I am a free man. There we go. So we need some more supply depots. So they're coming down right now as well. Now he's building Ling Baneling. It's unupgraded, which is really odd, and he's not building infestors either. He's actually floating an absurd amount of money, which is really strange. He's got a 3rd base. He's missing injects, I think, as well. Yeah, it's actually kind of strange. You know, we all have off days. You know, he was a fairly high platinum Zerg who's about on my level, so I would have expected a bit better there. He's floating so much. Now he's building more lings as well. I mean, look at all the gas he's got. And he has no evo chambers at all. Yeah, this is really weird. It's going to be one of those games where I thought I did really, really well, and then what I end up finding out is, oh yeah, he was actually really behind in almost every way. He's got so much money. Now he's building his pathogen glands. Now, if he'd built these infestors earlier, then he would have had great defense, even offensive capability. He would have been able to push in there. He may be able to sneak in. I have a missile turret behind there, so we can't really burrow under, but there's possibilities. There's things he could do. All right, time to roll out. So we see some banelings there. My army is bigger than his, but he's got a ton of money, you know, and he has 20 lava. So he could build a bunch of infestors, and that would be really, really good for him. I want to push out with +1. My infantry armor isn't done, but I do have an upgrade lead. Now, I know since he has lings and banelings, I try and spread out. He goes for a surround, he doesn't get it. With +1, and he has no armor upgrade, it's going to be hard for him to engage here. I swing around, I split my force up, because again, I know there's banelings. There's not actually as many as I thought there was. I send the Marauder forward, and then I split against these banelings, and then I attack from this side. Now, the mistake that I make here is moving my medevacs in the wrong position, so I actually could have saved a few more units there. But now I'm able to push in, and my army supply is really large. Now, look at what I'm doing in the background. I'm actually building units, yeah? So there's an army coming in here. I'm not building as many as I should be, though. A lot of these barracks are inactive. This is really bad. Because I'm engaging, I'm floating a ton of money. So, you can see I'm trying to deny the third, which shouldn't really be a problem. He's got Zerglings, and he doesn't have any Banelings, and he doesn't have any Infestors, and he's just not building anything, which is really strange. He must have been distracted during this game, but let's go back a bit, and let's look at that kind of push, and let's see what could be done better here. So I'm fighting here, but none of these are building. Let's go back a bit, and let's look at money. Okay, so I'm pushing out here. Speed it up just a little bit. Pushing out. Even here, I'm not building as many Marines and anything as I could be, yeah? So here, I'm actually not building anything at all. I build another 6 Marines there. Start to build some Marauders as well. Now I push out, yeah? Now I'm building another round. Okay, let's look at queues. Is anything queued up? No, not much anyway. So, but I can either queue up or I can build it later on. But at this stage, when I'm pushing across the map, this is the time, just before I engage, when I should immediately come back here and build a whole new round of units. I have 1,500 minerals in the bank. Yeah, I can build 15 Marines, or I could build 10 Marines and like a few Marauders. I've got the gas for it. Everything's fine there. I could build more medevacs as well. Not building any of those. I could build more Widow Mines for defense. Not building any of those. Could even add a second engineering bay on here. My SCV count's pretty good. It's a 51 for 2 bases, which is that's pretty much on the level. It's higher than his, but think about that. That's something I need to fix there. Just like with the Reaper, where I am not going to micro him next time, I'm just going to send him through, and I'm going to focus on building units and SCVs in the background. Here, when I push out, I need to build a huge round. So I need to check my money, I need to hit 3, which is my hotkey, which is not letting me press it in the replay, but hey, hit 3 and build, like, stack up as many Marines and Marauders as I can. And then, while I'm engaging here, I don't have to worry about building anymore. It's not perfect, because I'm still going to be earning money in the background, so I should be building more production facilities and so on and so forth, but at least I'm building something. I'm building something. And now his third's dead, so that's really, really nice for me. And only after that do I then realize, oh yeah, I should build units, but I'm still floating 1,000 resources here. So he's building his infestors, and he's trying to get to swarm hosts, and he's now building double evolution chambers. Like, it's too late for him to be doing that. My army is now 3 times the size of his, and obviously this is going to be GG right now. But the reason I wanted to show you this game is, I think if you've been watching my stream lately, this game and others like it, I've played about 5 games like this tonight against Zerg, and I've won every single one of them, being aggressive with this build. And it's just because the gas timing is very, very good for what I want. It allows earlier aggression, and it allows me this sort of mid-game timing where I can push in and do a lot of damage, try and catch the Zerg out. If the Zerg's trying to transition to mutas, I can push out, try and push out just before that, try and get some scouting information, try and find out what he's doing, and so on and so forth. And now all he's got really left is infestors. I send 2 Marauders forward here to make it really tricky for him. He tries to flank. I move away, and that's my split. Not so good, but good enough. And it takes out all of his infestors. My Marauders back here are able to pick them off as they come in, and then the rest of my army comes in. because I've been building in the background. So it's now 116 army supply to 20. So that's going to be pretty much a GG. And I'm going to take his natural out, and that's it. So, obviously my opponent made a lot of mistakes there. He could have had a much larger army, and he also wasn't upgrading. I'm not really sure what he was stacking for. Building 2 spires is a weird mistake, and then building no mutalisks out of that is, of course, a little bit more bizarre as well. So, if he'd had mutas, then that would have probably caused me some issues. He would have gone into my base, but I could have either gone for a base trade with him, or could have just built more stacked defense. Since I was building a lot of marines in the background, and I had a +1 upgrade advantage, I think I would have actually been okay, especially with the Widow Mines, so that would have been cool. But there are these sort of key moments where I can do stuff in this game. And bear in mind that all these timings are late because I'm bad, so they could be even better. So, when does the Reaper scout? Let's look at some key timings here using this build. We're going to go +4 on this. Actually, let's just go +8. Let's get it up nice and fast. Okay. So, my Reaper should probably be finished about 20 seconds earlier than this, but my Reaper finishes at 3:54. So, it's probably going to finish around 3:30, yeah? And that's when it's going to go scout. Yeah? You get that? Cool. Then I built my reactor, and then I built my CC around the 4-minute mark. Yeah? Build it in the base, because I'm playing nice and safe. Because if I build it down there, and I get delayed, and there's early aggression, it takes a lot of control to handle that. I don't have that. Build Marines... Build SCVs behind this. Really doing neither of that. At least I built an SCV, but I actually ended up misrallying it, so that doesn't help. Obviously, I can't really build Marines here because my reactor isn't done, but if I'd done my build right, it would have been. This reactor would have been up 20 seconds earlier if I'd done my build right, but I screwed it up. I got my gas a little bit too late, and so on and so forth. So, you know, there's a key timing there. And what else? What about that first drop? When can I put on that first piece of pressure, and how much better could I do it? So, my starport finishes around here. I could probably get it up before the 6-minute mark. I get 2 Widow Mines. I need 4 Marines here, not 2. And then my drop is going to leave at... It should leave around now, yeah? So, about the 720 mark. What does he have at the 720 mark? Not much. Some Lings, 2 Queens. That's about it. Like, I could do damage. He's got his Baneling nest up. Maybe if he morphed some Banelings in anticipation and saw my drop going out, that would kind of suck. But I'm still going to get the Widow Mines down, and I'm still probably going to do damage with them. So, yeah. I think there's a lot of potential to this opening. I think it suits me a lot better, and it means that I get that gas earlier, and I get my tech established quicker, and I get the ability to start being aggressive on the map. Because until you have those medevacs, unless you're playing mech, or you have a bunch of Hellions, you can't really do that. You can't safely do it. You can be too easily surrounded and killed by Zerglings. So, you know, maybe not the greatest game ever, but I'm really happy with how it went down, and I'm really happy with the build and the opening. And I think that I can really turn that into something later. Okay, folks, thank you very much for watching. Please bear in mind that I still suck at Starcraft 2. I'll see you next time.